Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. Today we're going to be out in the kitchen finally baking our sourdough bread. So guys, we've got a lot of footage to cover, so I'm going to just go ahead and jump right into it. I hope you don't mind, but if you're here for any other reason, then go ahead and click off now, or if you want to know how to make a sourdough starter, I'll put a link up here in the corner that'll take you back to the sourdough starter playlist, and you can start from there and catch up to us. So guys, we're going to get out here in the kitchen. We're going to bake some sourdough bread. We'll show you how we do it. Alrighty guys, we're getting ready to get started on this sourdough recipe. So we'll just jump right into it. The first thing we did was we measured off 15 grams of our starter. We've got our starter out here. And to the 15 grams of starter, we're going to add 30 grams of flour. I measured these before the video, but 30 grams of water. So 15, 30, and 30. What we're going to do, we'll get that stirred up real well so it's all wet. We don't have any dry powder left in there. That might take just a second, but you really don't want too much of your flour sitting around. So we'll get that stirred up. This is going to be our starter for the bread. Now we want our starter to start feeding on the flour, or the glucose in the flour, and we're going to go ahead and cover this up. We'll leave that for probably about 3 hours. So guys, the next step is going to be our flour. I've already got this measured out. We got 70 grams of whole wheat flour on the right there, and 255 grams of bread flour on the left. And to that, we're going to add 253 grams of water. And we're going to mix this by hand. But that is going to be a terribly messy process, and we'll cut down on the video length here a little bit because this is just the beginning. So let me, I'll get this mixed up, we'll get it covered, and then we'll see you in a few hours. Alrighty, before I get this covered up and put away, I did want to show you one thing. You're going to hear a lot as we're going through this recipe about building strength in the dough. And right now, I just want you to see as you pull on it, how it just falls apart. And I'll come back and show you that again when we've let it sit for a few hours. Alrighty guys, it's been about 3 hours. We're going to open up our starter mix here, and we can see that it's starting to bubble. That's what we were hoping to see. It's starting to get active. And we'll take a look at our dough ball here. It's kind of flattened out some, but we're not going to expect to see much rise at this point. We are going to go ahead and add our starter to the flour. Let me get a bowl of water. I'll bring you guys right back. Alrighty guys, jump back in here real quick. Had to get a couple things together, but we're going to go ahead and get our starter. Move down here to our dough. And then we'll set this aside, and with slightly damp hands, that's why I had to get some water, slightly damp hands, we're going to break that dough loose from the bottom, and we're going to start incorporating that dough, or incorporating that starter into the dough. So keep your fingers wet. You don't want to get too much water into your dough, but you want to go ahead and get this dough mixed in here. Now guys, this takes about 5 minutes to get it fully incorporated, and I don't want to keep filming that long, but we'll just keep working this dough. I want you to see the change in the elasticity. Remember how it broke away? It's getting stronger and stronger. It's got more stretch to it. So we'll go ahead and keep working this dough, and then we're going to cover it up, and we're going to leave it for another 30 minutes. So we'll see you again in 30 minutes when we get this stirred up, and we'll bring you right back. Alrighty guys, been about 30 minutes. The dough has been in the oven with the light on, just keeping it warm. We're going to open it up and take a look at it. Still looking kind of flat, though it may have grown a little bit. But what we're working on now is we're going to be adding 7.5 grams of sea salt. Now some people use the pink Himalayan salt or non-iodized salt. We're just going to use sea salt here, and we'll get our fingers damp. But the first thing you want to do is just take your fingers and poke the salt down into the dough best you can. Just work your way around it, poking it into the dough. Keep them wet. You don't want them too wet. You don't want to incorporate too much water into your dough. But then with a wet hand, we're going to start gathering up and start mixing this dough in. We're just going to keep rolling it into the center. Just do like that, and as this dough gets stronger and stronger, you'll see it pulling away from the bowl on its own. You won't have to, once it's not really trying to stick, it's just adhering to it a little bit, and it pulls free of it. So, guys, it takes about 5 or 6 minutes of rolling it like this to get that salt completely incorporated. So, I'm going to finish doing that, then we'll round the dough off, give it a nice round top on it, and we'll put it back in the oven. But I'm going to keep working this salt in. Then we'll get it covered back up for another 30 minutes, and we'll see you then. Alrighty guys, been about half an hour again. We're going to take a look at this dough. Still looking kind of the same. So what we're going to do, we're going to set the dough off to the side. We're going to mist the work area real quick. Just mist it real light. And we're going to get our spreader here, get it sprayed off, and we'll get our hands damp. And what we're going to do is we're going to work this dough out of this bowl and out onto the counter. So there we go. Now what you want to do when you have your dough out is we're going to come from all 4 directions. We're going to go ahead and loosen it up, and then we're going to stretch it and fold it over. We're going to do that from all 4 sides. So we'll get up underneath it, stretch it, fold it over. Underneath it, got to get a good stretch on it, fold it over, get up underneath it, get a good stretch on it, fold it over. What we're going to do now is we're just going to round it back up by rolling it over. Put all of our stretches on the bottom. Get our bowl back here. We'll get it back in the bowl with that nice rounded top on it. And then we're going to get it back in the, get it covered back up, and it's going to sit another half hour. So we'll see you guys then. Alrighty guys, been about another 30 minutes, and we've got the dough back out of the oven again. It's been in there staying nice and warm, but we're going to mist the table down here. Then it says to, I'm going to wet a hand, make it easier. We're going to gather up the dough here. And we're going to turn it out onto the misted table. Now, what we're going to do is we're going to try to stretch this out into a giant rectangle. And we're going to do that by reaching up under it and pulling. Reach and pull, reach and pull. And we're just going to keep doing that until we get it all spread out. So I have a feeling this is going to take me a while. I'm not real coordinated. So let me get this stretched out into a rectangle and I'll bring you back. Alrighty guys, there's your rectangle. That was not as easy as they make it look. You just keep stretching it out. But once you get your rectangle, you're going to loosen up that edge. We'll get this thing wet. You loosen up the edge here, and we're going to fold in about 1/3 of it Terrible job. We'll loosen this other edge. We're going to fold it back in over the top. Still making a mess of it. We're going to take the top and bring it down. We'll take the bottom, give it a stretch, lift it up. Got a relatively square shape. We're going to flip it over and put it into a square pan. I'll show you guys that. And then we are going to cover it and put it back in the oven, this time for I believe 45 minutes. Alrighty guys, it's come to the point where we're going to fold our dough a few times, and what we're going to do is we're just going to try to work it loose here. See if we can work it loose. We'll stretch it and fold it over itself. Work our way down this side. We'll stretch it out, fold it over itself. Come from the bottom here, we'll stretch it towards us, back over itself. Break this side loose, we'll stretch it, fold it back over itself. So guys, that's all we're going to do, a 4-way fold, and then we're going to let this rest for another 45 minutes. Alrighty guys, it's been about 45 minutes. We're going to go through the same thing again. We're just going to pick the dough up, fold it over itself. Same thing, pick it up from the side. We'll fold it over itself. Move it back here. Pull the bottom out, stretch the bottom. Fold it back over itself. Then this side, we'll stretch it out, fold it back over. But guys, that's all we're going to do. We're going to do that a few more times at 45-minute intervals, and then I'll bring you back and show you what we do after that. Alrighty guys, we got the dough out of the oven now, and you can see little signs of bubbles starting to form in it. Pop those bigger ones, but you can see that it's rounded on the edges. It hasn't spread back out to fill the pan. So it's just about where we want it. We're going to do one more set of folds on it. We're going to put it up for 45 minutes. Then we're going to get it out and we're going to put it in the proofing basket. So I'll get this folded up. I'll just save time. I'll get it folded up. We'll come back. I'll show you how you do it when you put it in the proofing basket. So hang on. Alrighty guys, we've got the dough back out of the oven for the last time. It's holding its shape really well. It's got high rounded sides on it, which is what we're looking for. So we're going to ready to do the final shaping on it. I've got some rice flour here. We're going to put the rice flour over the top of it, just real light. We'll spread that around a little bit. We're just going to dust it on there. Get a little on our hands. And then what we're going to do is we're going to start turning the dough under. Just real easy. Don't want to move too fast that you tear it out. But we're going to get a nice smooth surface on it. We've got all of our turning under on the bottom side. And we've got our proofing basket here. We're going to add plenty of rice flour to the proofing basket. Don't be shy with it. You don't have to be. But we don't want the dough ball sticking to it. So we'll just keep working that dough until we got a nice smooth surface. Just moving real slow. Feels real good. And then we're going to take it pretty side up, down, and put it in the basket. That will actually become the top of our loaf of bread. So guys, we're just going to put it in here. We're going to cover it and leave it out on the counter for about 20 minutes, and then it's going in the fridge overnight. So that's when we'll see you again. We'll get this covered up. We'll get it in the fridge. We'll see you guys in the morning. Alrighty guys, it's the next morning and it's time to get this bread baking. So we've got our parchment paper laid out here on the butcher block, and we've dusted it with a little bit of rice flour. You can use cornmeal or anything else, but we're going to get this bread and we're going to do our best to turn it out neatly onto the parchment paper. That came out of there nice and clean. We dusted the proofing bowl with rice flour before we put it in there. Now the next thing we're going to use is called a lame, a bread lame, but it's just a stick that holds a razor blade. So we're going to put us a nice neat, maybe neat crescent shape slit in the top. We'll do a couple of slits for decoration. And then we're going to get this Dutch oven we've had heating up in a 500-degree oven. We're going to get it out and we're going to put the bread in there. So let me get a different angle. I'll get this thing out of the oven. I'll bring you right back. Alrighty guys, got that oven, or got that cast iron out of the oven. And we're going to real carefully pick up our bread. And we are going to drop it into the Dutch oven. So let me get that lid back on it. We're going to put it in the oven for 20 minutes, cover it up. We're going to take the lid off and cook it for 20 more. So guys, next scene we'll probably be getting this out of the oven and we'll show you what it looks like. Alrighty guys, it's been 20 minutes and we've got the top off our Dutch oven. Now one thing I forgot to tell you is we're going to, after you put the bread in, you turn it down to 475. And after you take the top off, we're going to turn it on back down to 450. So that was my mistake. But when you go to put it in, you set it at 470. You preheat to 5. When you put it in, you set it to 475. When you take the top off, it's 450 for another 20 minutes. So we'll bring you back when it's done. We'll show you that. Alrighty guys, the timer just went off and it is time to open the oven and see if we baked a brick. It looks like it's got pretty good rise on it. We're going to get it out here, take a look at it, and I'll bring you right back for that. Alrighty guys, we've got the bread out. Tina's first comment was that it looked like artisan bread. So we didn't quite get the rise we wanted, but I was kind of expecting that with the wheat flour. We'll probably be changing our starters over to more white flour. But just in case this one had failed, we cooked these up last night. I'll show you that. That is actually wheat flour also, so that is a sourdough wheat. But guys, that's where we're at. That's the loaf we got. I got one more shot to show you. We're going to let this cool down and then we're going to cut into it. Alrighty guys, last shot. Of all the errors we made and all the fumbling around, we managed to make a pretty open-celled, or crumb I guess they call it, but a pretty open-celled wheat bread. Wheat bread's usually denser, but I'm glad to say we didn't bake a brick, and we've got a couple other loaves to boot. So thank you guys for watching. I'll be right back to talk to you. Alrighty guys, that's about going to wrap it up, but just one real quick, we're going to run you through a series of pictures so you guys can take a look, a close-up look at the final product, and then I'll be back to talk to you. But let's go ahead and check out these bread shots. guys, that's going to wrap it up for baking sourdough bread. We hope you enjoyed it. I'm going to go ahead and put both recipes in the description of the video. It might not be up there right away. It's going to take me a while to type up, and we're going to want to get this video up right away. So if it's not there, it will be soon. But we appreciate you spending your time with us. If you like the content here on the channel, we hope you'll subscribe. Down next to the subscribe button is a bell. If you'll ring that bell, that'll send you notifications whenever we release a new video. That's a great way to keep up with the channel and a great way to follow along with any of these series you see going on. But guys, if you like the video, please give it a thumbs up. Leave us a comment down below, or leave us any questions you might have. If we don't know, we'll find you an answer. But guys, we appreciate you spending your time with us. Thank you again. We'll catch you in the next one.